The Seven Fears.
Retold by Olga Kass. An Adyghe folk tale. This tale was created long ago, in the days when people believed in miracles. In those times, people looked upon a great boulder and saw a stone man. They looked upon a twisted tree and saw its ancient spirit. They believed, too, that a person's heart could be as timid as a hare's, or as fearless as a wolf's. In those days, there lived two young hunter brothers, Olga and Indiga. One day, they went deep into the forest together to hunt. There, a great tiger sprang from the thicket and attacked the elder brother, Olga. Terror seized Indiga. Instead of rushing to his brother's aid, he turned and fled through the forest, running without knowing where his feet carried him. When he returned home alone, his mother would not let him cross the threshold of their home. "Indiga," she said, "your father taught you never to abandon your brother or your friend in times of trouble. You did not listen, and now you have lost your brother. You have the heart of a hare. Go now, my son, and find your brother. Only courage can save him. Do not return without Olga." With his head bowed, Indiga left his home. Taking only a rope and his spear, he set off once more into the depths of the forest. No matter how hard he searched, he could not find the trail back to where he had left his brother in danger. Soon he saw a squirrel. "Squirrel, squirrel," he called, "you sit high among the branches. Have you seen my brother Olga?" "No," replied the squirrel, "I have not." "Ask the eagle instead. He flies higher than anyone. Nothing escapes his sight." So Indiga climbed to the eagle's nest atop a towering cliff. He feared the eagle, and the steep climb terrified him, but he forced himself to reach the summit. "Eagle," he asked, "you fly higher than all others. You can see everything below. How can I find my brother?" "Your brother is far away," answered the eagle. "You will find him only if you endure great fears." "I will endure them all," said Indiga. "I will find my brother, and only then will my heart stop aching." "Very well," said the eagle. "I will help you. Follow wherever my feather flies." The eagle lifted one mighty wing and beat it once. A large grey feather edged in white spiraled through the air, pointing the way. Indiga thanked the eagle and followed. All day he pushed through dense thickets, crossed ravines, and climbed over fallen trees. By nightfall, he reached a dark swamp. The feather drifted above the still water and scattered grassy hummocks toward a lone dead tree. Indiga followed, sinking to his knees in the mire and probing the ground ahead with the shaft of his spear. When he reached the twisted tree, he stopped to rest. "You shall go no farther," hissed a loud voice. "I will drown you." The tree came alive. A branch wrapped around Indiga's neck, while terrible eyes glowed with the cold light of the swamp. "Where are you going? Whom do you seek?" I seek you," stammered Indiga. "Buku, king of the swamp." And why do you seek me?"
"I've heard people say that your one leg
"Is stronger than 2 ordinary legs." "Of course it is," boasted Buku. "I don't believe it," said Indiga. "Let's test it. Let's see who can jump higher." "Ha ha! Very well," laughed Buku. "You first." Indiga managed only a weak little jump. "Is that what you call jumping?" laughed the Swamp King. "Watch this." His whole body coiled like a giant spring, and with one mighty leap, he disappeared into the sky. Indiga wasted no time. As fast as the swamp would allow, he raced toward the far shore. When he finally reached solid ground, gasping for breath, he told himself, "That was not the greatest fear. The greatest fear still lies ahead." Behind him, the Swamp King's furious cries faded into the distance. "He escaped! He escaped! Just wait, you'll sink into the mud one day."
Almost the entire night Indiga followed the glowing feather, which shone in the darkness like a giant firefly. At dawn he came to a barren valley of stone. Everywhere sharp pillars of rock jutted upward like the teeth of some enormous beast. Beyond them rose a colossal solitary cliff. Carefully making his way through the maze of rocks, Indiga suddenly gasped. The cliff moved. It revealed gigantic legs, enormous arms, and the fierce face of a giant. It was Kakzamu, the stone man. Trying to gain time, Indiga called out, "Kakzamu, they say you possess tremendous power." "They speak the truth," thundered Kakzamu. The giant lowered one massive hand, touched Indiga's shoulder, and instantly his shoulder turned to stone. The terrible weight forced him to his knees. But Indiga would not surrender. "That's no great feat," he rasped. "Any giant can turn a living man to stone. Turn stone into a living man. That would be true power." The giant touched him again. To Indiga's relief, his shoulder returned to flesh. He jumped to his feet. "That isn't all," he said. "Lean closer. I'll tell you a great secret my grandfather knew." Curious, Kakzamu crouched. His enormous face came close. In an instant, Indiga pulled out his tobacco pouch, emptied it into his palm, and threw the tobacco straight into the giant's nostrils. Kakzamu sneezed so violently that the whole valley shook. He sneezed again, and again, and again. While the giant could do nothing but sneeze, Indiga ran with all his strength. When he reached the edge of the forest, he caught his breath and looked back. "That was not the greatest fear," he said to himself. "The greatest fear still lies ahead." The feather led him deeper into the forest until he reached a narrow river. The feather floated across and waited on the opposite bank. Indiga pushed the trunk of a fallen tree into the water, stood upon it, and slowly poled himself across with his spear. Suddenly the water around the log began to boil. Steam rose. The river's coolness became unbearable heat. Indiga quickly turned back and barely reached shore before flames burst from the river's surface. "A river of fire," he whispered. Only after he had moved well away did the flames die down. Exhausted, he sat with his head in his hands. Then he remembered his mother's words. "Do not return without Solomdiga. Only courage will save your brother." Indiga stood. He climbed the tallest tree on the riverbank. He tied one end of his rope around its trunk and fastened the other end to his spear. With all his strength, he hurled the spear across the river. It lodged in the branches of a tree on the opposite bank. The rope stretched taut between the two shores. Clinging tightly to it with his hands and feet, Indiga slowly made his way across. The water below began to boil again. Flames rose higher and higher. Still he kept moving. Then the rope caught fire. Just as he neared the far side, it snapped. Grabbing desperately at the burning rope, he swung through the air like a pendulum and landed safely far from the river. His spear landed beside him. Slowly he rose and said once more,
That was not the greatest fear. The greatest fear still lies ahead.
Looking around, he searched for the eagle's feather. It lay motionless. No longer did it point the way. As he reached for it, the feather vanished before his eyes. Then, in the distance, he heard a tiger roar. Gripping his spear tightly, Indiga crept toward the sound. Soon the trees opened onto a terrible sight. High upon a narrow rocky ledge stood Solomdiga, trapped. Below him prowled a gigantic tiger. Again and again the tiger leaped. Each time its claws nearly reached the ledge. Once it managed to cling to the rock, but slipped and crashed back down. Enraged even more, it crouched for another leap. Indiga did not hesitate. Lowering his spear, he shouted, "Solomdiga!" and charged. The tiger turned toward the cry and sprang at Indiga. From above, Solomdiga watched in horror. His younger brother, the timid boy who had once run away, was now facing the tiger alone. He could not allow it. He leapt from the ledge, snatched up his fallen hunting knife, and rushed to help. But when he reached them, he stopped in astonishment. His help was no longer needed. The tiger lay dead at his feet. Above it stood Indiga, wounded, weary unto death, yet still alive, his spear stained with blood. Later, when the brothers returned home, the tiger's skin was hung upon the wall of their dwelling, beside their father's hunting spear. Solomdiga said, "Thank you, brother. You feared nothing for my sake." Their mother solemnly took the spear down from the wall. "My son," she said, "your father received this spear from your grandfather, and now I place it in your hands. You have proved yourself worthy to carry it. No longer do you bear the heart of a hare. Now your heart is the heart of a brave man."